Building robust and dynamic applications in today's fast-paced tech world often requires a team effort. Whether you are a developer, designer, or project manager, understanding FlutterFlow's collaborative features can transform how your team builds and delivers applications. From real-time collaboration tools to version control and project management features, FlutterFlow provides an all-in-one platform that supports efficient and effective teamwork. And that's what we are going to cover in this module. You will learn how to build a well-constructed FlutterFlow team. Reusability in development is an important factor for a great teamwork and a speedy product development, and that's what you will learn in this module. In Module 4, we have learned about design principles and how a design system can play an important role in an application development. So we will see how FlutterFlow can help to create and manage a design system in this module. Then we explore possibilities for peer reviewing in FlutterFlow. Creating branches for development features is very important. That's what we are going to review in branching strategies. And finally, you will learn the role of documentation and guidelines in collaborative development and how FlutterFlow helps for that. So, what are we waiting for? Let's get started. When assembling a team, bringing together people with different strengths is good. Typical roles include UI/UX designers, developers, project managers, and QA testers. Each role has specific responsibilities that contribute to project success. It's perfectly fine if you are a solo developer using FlutterFlow. You can still use the team feature. In fact, it's a good idea to start by creating a team that only has you as a member. Defining clear user roles and permissions is important to streamline development and minimize conflicts. In FlutterFlow, you can grant editing privileges to collaborators who are actively working on a project while assigning read-only access to those who need to view the progress. Alternatively, you can also make them the project owner, giving them full control. Set up user roles correctly to avoid any accidental changes or conflicts. All right, let's go ahead and quickly see how you can create a team and invite different users. You can go to My Organization in FlutterFlow dashboard and then start by inviting user. Just put their email and select the role that you wish that user to have. For example, designer, developer, or editor. Then invite the user to your team. And this is how you can create your own team in FlutterFlow. In Module 4, we talked a lot about the design principles, like adding typographies, colors, fonts, and so on and so forth. A design system is a guideline that actually put all of this together as a way to create a consistent UI or UX across the applications that you are building. So, in fact, this is especially helpful when you are working in a team of builders and designers in larger companies. But not even that. Even if you're having one application, still sticking to creating a design system for yourself is going to be a good practice. Well, let's see how you can do that. One of the good practices that actually you create your design system in a library that you can share. Let's start by implementing design system in action. When you navigate to the theme settings, you have the design system menu where you can create a new design library. As soon as you create your design library, then you get access to another project, which is your design system library, or I named it in this case, My Company DS. All right, so you have access to not only a few options that you see, for example, defining breakpoints or changing loading indicators. For example, if there is any loading, like I can change that to anything else like a wave or even change the color. And changing other themes parameters such as changing the theme for a scroll bar or pull to refresh a style, and even fall back to the material tree. And you may ask, what is material tree? Let's take a look at that. By default, you are going to use the material design in FlutterFlow as a design system, as a primary design system, let's put it that way. So what you're going to have is material design 2. You can always access material design, which is a design system from Google, and you will go to the website and you can see a lot of information about material design 2. But the newest version of this design system is material design 3. You can take a look at the material design 3 on the website and see what it means to you. Whether you want it or not, the material design in FlutterFlow, it's very flexible. So the material design is very flexible in FlutterFlow so that you can make your application to look like anything you would like. So defining these parameters are not the only one that you can do. So bear in mind, if you have Figma, for example, as your design platform, you can also use Figma to import your design system. There's other things that you can do in design system. For example, the colors are primary things that you can change. For example, you can change your brand color for both light mode and dark mode. You can always add a new color if you cannot find this color in the brand colors or the colors that you see on FlutterFlow. So I'm going to actually change this right now from a green to a yellow. You can see there are multiple ways that you can define. Either you can choose this color palette, or you have different value for your color and you can paste it here. And here's like a hex color code. I can select that, for example, for copy and paste, for example, for my dark mode theme. There are multiple options that you can also play around to define these colors. For example, you can import all the colors if you want, or if you have a picture, you can extract probably from that. Possibly you can actually ask an AI to generate a color palette for you. Another option is when you want to explore the project colors, you already probably created some pages and you want to actually extract it from there. Well, there you can select different pages and also change the brand color and save. And colors are not the only options. You also need to define the typographies. If you want to make your application responsive, for example, you want to support bigger screens such as desktop, you can also make your typography responsive, where you can define different font size for desktop, tablet, and mobile. There's always a primary font family, which is going to be used as a primary font, and a second font family, which is usually used for highlighting or headlines. And here's the things. In choosing the font family, you can have Google fonts, a lot of fonts available for you, or if you have your custom fonts, you can also upload your custom font and make it available in the application. And custom fonts are not the only option that you may want to upload to your design system and use in your application, but also the custom icons. Many design system comes with the custom icons that needs to be used in an application or throughout different application that is using this design system. There's also an option of theme widgets where if you want to customize the visual appearance of a single widget, you can use the theme widget. You may ask, like, what's the difference between theme widget and the component? And that's a very good question, because components are fully featured custom widgets that combine multiple widgets and actions to complete a task. Whereas theme widgets are just allowing you to customize the visual appearance of a single widget. If you navigate to the setting, you will see that you can also define the splash screen, the launcher icons, Android icons, error messages, and even more, like defining your navigation bar, app bar, and so on. All of this is going to be part of this design system that you are creating. All right, now that we have defined a design system, let's go ahead and use it in our application. So I'm going to go back to my Team Assets library that I shared. I'm just going to go to Design Systems. Since now I created my company design system, I'm just going to select it. And if I now go to the colors, you see the colors is going to change to primary color, which was the color of my design system. And if I even navigate to widget palette to the main page, you will see that the app bar color has changed. Just because the app bar is using the primary color in this case. And that's a good practice. Always use these colors that are defined in the design system, because that is allowing you to always reflect every time you're changing a design system. Like imagine right now, I go back to the design system and I select another design system. And this time, this color primary is different. If I go back to my page, you'll see my app bar is changing because I use the primary color. Color was only one thing. There was also typography. For example, if I choose this text and if I navigate down to the properties, I will see the font family. And as you can see, I chose the primary font family, which means if I now go to my design system and change the font family, and if I now switch back to my project again, you will see that the text, the primary font family, has changed. And if I select, in this case, a theme font of my secondary family, you will see that is actually reflecting to the font that it was in the design system. That's the power of design system. And another thing that we mentioned is about the scalability and reusability of the design system across projects. We define that in our Team Assets library. So I'm going to publish a new version of this library. Now that I define my design system, I can even go to another project, switching to another project. And when I go to my design system settings, I now have access to the design system I defined. When you choose a design system, it will be reflected to your application. So if I go back now to my pages that I have in this application, you will see the colors are going to change. Let's just take an example. Here is my product page. You see the heart is green and the fonts are different. I can now go to the theme settings, go to design system, change from whatever it is right now to another design system which is different. And if you go to colors, you see the primary color is changing and the typography is also changing. So I'm going to go back to my pages and you will see now that is actually impacting my design because I used everything from the design system that I defined. And that's the best practice. Always try to use the themes data or the themes in the design system that you are defining in your application, which in fact you can make a huge change in all of your application by just changing one variable in the design system. And that's it for design system. We're going to use that in more videos in the upcoming modules. Imagine now you are multiple people on a project and you want to actually get your team's reviews and feedback and ensuring everyone is on the same page. And that's where peer review comes in place. In fact, the key benefit of peer review is quality assurance. Having multiple sets of eyes on the code and UI widgets increases the chances of catching bugs and potential issues. And one of those peer reviews method that FlutterFlow allows you to do is leaving comments. Let's take a look at that, how you can do in FlutterFlow projects. Here is my project. Imagine now you're working with several people in a team and you want to leave a comment for someone who is designed this page. And you want to make sure that the search is a bit wider. You can select the search element in this case, and then by right click, you can see that you have the add comment option. Another option is you select what you're going to leave the comment and go to the comment section. Then you're going to have access to create new comments, and you can see that you're now leaving a comment for search query that you selected. If you want to leave this comment as just a general comment that everyone should see, you can leave it as is. Or if you want to assign this to someone like a team member, you can just select the team member by clicking on the add sign icon and then assign this comment to that person. You can also have a conversation style in this comment, so the next person can come and answer or reply to you, and until you can resolve this comment. Everyone who is coming to this project right now, they can go to the comment section and they can review multiple comments. And those that are assigned to them, they can find it under assigned comments. Once the comments are resolved, you can just click on the resolve and you will see that it goes under the resolve tabs. And that's it. You can now have peer reviews from teammates and make sure you're building a much higher quality applications by having the peer reviews. In Module 2 and 3, we talked about branching a bit. Let's understand the general workflow for creating and merging branches. First thing first is that you have the main branch, and the main branch is where you have the most completed features and the working application. And then you're going to create a new branch from the main branch. And this is because you can make your changes and finalize the feature without really interfering with anyone else or any other changes on the main or other feature branches. Once your work is complete, you'll proceed to merge this branch back to main branch. So there are many times that you can merge your feature branch that you already worked easily back to the main branch without any problem. But sometimes when you want to merge, you're going to get conflicts. And what are conflicts? Conflicts usually occurs when you're already working on a feature in one branch, and then another branch is also working on the same thing. And then one of you is trying to merge first, and the other one is trying to merge second. The second one is going to probably get some conflicts, and that's where you need to resolve the conflicts. Let's actually see that in an action. Back to my FlutterFlow project, I have access to the branching icons. And if I click on that, you will see that it's appearing as the current branch here, which in this case is going to be my main branch. So by default, when you create a FlutterFlow project, you get the main branch. Now imagine in your team, or even you yourself alone, going to work on a feature. And that's where you're going to create a new branch. There are two options when you're going to create a new branch. When you create a new branch, it always asks you what is going to be the parent branch, which in this case is going to be my main. This means that you can even branch from a branch if you want. Now I'm gonna go and put a name for my branch. And I want to actually point out one more thing about branching, and that's about rules and permissions. We talked about different roles and why it's important to define the permissions earlier in this module. And that's what you can do with branch as well. You can define who can have access to the branch that you are creating. There are two different permissions that you can define here. Either you can have an editor, which means you can define who can actually directly edit this branch, or a merger, which defines that who can merge other branches into this branch. So let's go ahead and create this branch right now. If I go back to the branch, you see that now my current branch is not main anymore, it's actually this feature branch. And now I can continue adding a feature. For example, I may want to change search to another text. Now imagine another team member is coming and they are also going to create another branch. I want to set the parent branch as main and put it feature B. So as you can see now, I have two feature branch and one main branch. So the feature branches can be created by any team member in this case. And then they can work in their branch without interfering with other branches. The feature B branch, I'm going to change this, or another team member is going to change the search text to another text. Now we have done the feature and we completed what we were looking for. And now we want to merge this back to the main. Because if I now actually switch to the main branch, you will see that the search text is still search because we've changed the features in other branches and not the main. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to actually merge the feature A back to the main. So I'm going to switch to the feature A branch. And I'm going to go merge feature A into main. All right. And once you do that, you will see this message. Please commit or discard uncommitted changes on the main branch. This is because we made some changes or we touched something on the main branch which is not already committed to the branch. To do that, you can just go back to the main branch, create a commit, give it a name, and now you have committed all the changes. Now switch back to feature A branch, and then you should be able to see again merge feature A into main. You will see the same warning again on this branch, and we need to commit the change this time. So once the commit is complete, let's go ahead and merge feature A to main finally. So I really wanted you to see all of this process in a demo so that you can do it yourself in your project. Once you do that, you will see that you get into a merge config page. And luckily, we're merging a branch right now that does not have any conflict. It says there are 0 conflicts, which is good. So I'm going to go and merge my branch at this point. All right, that's very good. Merging is done. So if I go back now again to main, you will see now that the search text has changed to find an item, which was from feature A branch. That's good. So what I can do right now, I can go back to feature A because I am done with this feature. We don't need this branch anymore. So I can go ahead and close this branch. It's always good to clean up the branches if you don't really need them. Now let's switch to the feature B. And I need to first commit. So now we learned before any merging, we need to commit. I'm going to create a new commit for this branch. Then I'll go back to merge the feature B into main. And this time, you will see that I'm getting a conflict. So let's go ahead and review the conflict. When I review the changes, it says that in the main branch, in my search query, there is something here which I go to feature B and I get a problem over there. So I want to look to see which of these now I need. Maybe there is something that is in main and I look for that instead of what I have done in feature B. We really need to decide here, and that's what we are trying to resolve. The resolve means deciding between which of these you are requiring to be merged to the main. So I'm going to click on Resolve Conflicts, and I will say, in fact, I would like to have the change from the feature, not from the main. It's really up to you how you want to resolve this conflict. Either you want to select from what is already in another parent branch or in the feature branch. In this case, I'm going to select what I have done in the feature branch. And as you can see right now, it says resolved and the merge branch button is appearing. So I'm going to go and merge my branch. All right, let's switch to the main. And voila, you see that the search text is now changing to what it was in the feature branch. Again, as a good practice for cleanup, I'm going to switch back to feature B branch that we created because we are done with it. We already merged it and we don't want to continue with this branch anymore. I'm just going to go and close this branch. Keep in mind, you can always create branches and leave them forever. That's not a good practice though. I do not recommend it. I recommend you create branches based on features that you're developing. And once you have done that, you merge it, you complete, and you close down. There might be some cases that you want to keep another branch as parallel as to the parent branch. For example, continuously you are testing and you want to create a testing branch without interfering with the main branch. So this is up to you. You can decide on that. But as a rule of thumbs, create a different branch for features, merge them in, close them to clean up the branches. And that's it for all the branching and merge and even committing your changes. So let's get to the next video and see how you can make documentation. Documentation helps new team members quickly learn and allow existing members of the team to reference important details without diving into the code. Several types of documentation are important in application development. Let's examine some of the key ones. Code documentation is more than just code documents. Choosing a proper name for your action, functions, and widgets is also a part of good documentation. In fact, in FlutterFlow, these names will be reflected in the generated code. We're going to talk about generated code in the upcoming modules. Stay tuned. API documentation details how you use different parts of your app's backend. There's another type of documentation that I encourage you to build, especially if you have a complex application, and that's user manuals. It guides users on navigating features or troubleshooting common issues. And I just want to share maybe one more tip here, is that always a good idea to document your style guides where it's going to ensure the consistency across your teams and projects. And also, documentation best practices for your team is a proactive way to ensure high quality development.